We are in 2025 and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Fortnite Mobile is back on the App Store. And with that, I welcome you, a player probably new to the game, downloading it for the first time. But I can assume starting this game at first may seem intimidating. All the building and editing way different from any battle royale, and the concept of a full box 200 seeming so foreign. But I'll do what I can with this guide as a 5+ year Fortnite Mobile Pro, so called by CypherPK #1 Fortnite Mobile player and content creator. I hope this guide can help. Let's start with tip 1, which is play with 3 or more fingers. In Fortnite, there are a lot of buttons you need to click in order to play well. This is nearly impossible to do on 2 fingers, as the aiming finger can't really click buttons as fluently, and important things like crosshair editing and pulling builds out fast are virtually impossible with just your thumbs. Playing on 3 or more fingers makes this a little easier, taking that stress out of your thumbs. If you need HUD inspiration, a multitude of Fortnite mobile YouTubers such as Doritos FX, Chilled, Uriel, Wayox, John FNM, and many more have made videos where they show their settings in HUD, which I can personally vouch. Next up, find your sensitivity. For many, this is on the lower side, usually being below about 30%. This makes it a little easier to control your hipfire aim, basically when you're not aiming in with a weapon or scope, which is extremely important in Fortnite in my opinion. Your ADS sense, what you use to aim whenever you're scoping in, is a percentage of this number. For example, if your ADS sense is 50% and your touch sense is 30%, your ADS sense would be 15%, as that is 50% and 30%. Adjust this to your liking and what works for you. Find what works for you. Aim acceleration, I'd also say, is preference. I know people with 80% aim acceleration, 40% aim acceleration, 100, 1%, etc. Just find settings of other players, apply them, and see what works for you, as I said. Third tip, albeit quick, learn how to build a full box. This is single-handedly the most important thing you can do in Fortnite, and virtually every single fight revolves around this motion. You do this by switching to builds, clicking your wall binds, floors, then cones. Get it down and you've mastered step 1 of mechanics. In tip 4, we have the most useful edits. In fights, there are certain edits you're going to use more than others. Here they are, in my opinion, and try to learn them. Fifth, learn how to right hand peek. The easiest advantage on the other player you can have is not being seen, as they literally cannot shoot you due to how camera angles work. A lot of the time, this means standing on the left side of your wall when you edit, using it as cover, as you do not appear in their vision. Get into the habit of doing this while building, note where your opponent is, and stand where they can't see you. Piece control is one of the most important mechanics in Fortnite. Look into learning how to do this properly and practice it when fighting players in creative. To get you started, here's a few moves you can practice. You won't always be on the attack. Sometimes you need to defend. This is where knowing how to play defensively comes in. The easiest way to apply this is by knowing how to make multiple boxes from a full box, as you can see me doing here. Also, editing above or below yourself and making a full box can buy you more time and make it harder for the enemy to get to you fast, as they have to either build up or build down, switch the layer of where the builds are basically. Little advanced tip, you can also build in brick and metal, which takes more HP to break and also gives you more time. Usually when I'm on defense, I try to switch straight to metal if I have it, as it gives me way more time to pop heals. At this point, with all these tips applied, you'll know if you like using simple edit or not, and if you don't, try crosshair editing. This is what I use and involves using your crosshair to select the tiles to edit versus just clicking the edit button alone. It requires two buttons, your normal edit button and the crosshair edit button. You click your normal edit button to start the edit, hold the crosshair edit button down to select the tiles, and click the normal button again to confirm. If you prefer a simple edit, you can ignore this part. Otherwise, I'd give it a try. Pretty much every PC and console pro edits like this, if that helps. While building, learn to cover all angles. There are a plethora of ways to get beamed in Fortnite, and even just leaving one wall or one angle open can be game over for you. Practice blocking ways enemies can shoot you off, whether it be while you're on a ramp, whenever you're farming trees or materials, build walls around you, or while trying to retake height and not get shot by the enemy on height. Finally, for our last tip of the first section, practice using your tactical sprint button. This is the button with the character running on it and is basically essential for Battle Royale. You use it to rotate to different zones as soon as possible, take high ground before the enemy can, and potentially even to claim builds faster. For Chapter 2 Season 3 returning players, I would learn how to use this effectively, as it's one of the main differences in the game since then. Now, for the in-game tips. If you feel like you already have the tips I've stated down, then these are for you. This is for when you're ready to get better in-game, actually in Battle Royale and Reload, I guess, after mastering the basic mechanics. Starting us off, find a drop spot and master it. Look for somewhere you want to land on the map and learn everything about it. The chest spawns, loot that spawns on the floor, where to farm the most mats the fastest, where other players at that drop spot usually land. Literally, become obsessed with said drop. This will make the start of the game way easier, as you'll know where to land, while other enemies, probably other enemies, won't know what they're doing. Now for the loot. Guns you'll want to use are shotguns, 100%, and a fast shooting, fast fire rate secondary weapon. Shotguns are basically a necessity in Fortnite. Having them grants a huge advantage over a player that doesn't have one, as you can always quickly hit high damage shots before the other person even has a chance to spray, and as I said, these are pretty much always used in box fights. Now for the spray aspect of mobile. Fast fire rate guns are better if you want to get up close and personal. SMGs are a good example of this and can do a lot of damage quickly and are usually busted on mobile. My examples: P90, Combat SMG, Stinger SMG, it's been a thing, as many F&M veterans may know. These can also be ARs sometimes. For example, the Knight in Shining Armor and any similar weapon is busted. I'll say that much. Now, let's say you're in a fight and get a beam, get damage on the opponent, break their shield. What do you do now? Pressure, pressure, pressure. I can feel the pressure. This could be spraying, pickaxing, piece controlling, anything that makes the opponent nervous. You're going to want to apply this constantly when on attack, as it usually makes the opponent panic and make a mistake, giving you an easy elimination. But how do you get this easy elimination? Play for piece control while you pressure. Try to predict where the enemy will go, usually in the opposite direction of where you're pushing from or to the side. Use the piece control moves I showed you earlier in these situations, and you might just be able to catch an opponent off guard. What do you do if the player just seems to sit on height and not drop down to fight you? Chop, chop, chop. This means breaking out and disconnecting the builds connected to their own so they drop down to fight you. You can either do this with pickaxe or by editing your own builds that are connected to the opponents, causing them to fall out. Whenever they fall, try to line up a shot wherever they are, then build immediately. If done correctly, they should box up and chill with the height plays and stop just sitting on height. In fights, learn how to use cones. This was and still is one of the most important build pieces in Fortnite and can create easy win situations if done correctly. Two of my favorite examples include placing a cone over a wall, which is basically when you edit the cone above you and then put a cone over the wall you are holding, and the cone through the edited window, which is usually whenever an opponent's like building a stair above you or something and you edit a window and place a cone to stop them. I use both often and those moves alone can win me a fight. For those of you that aren't as into fighting, potentially due to lower FPS or higher input delay, higher ping, try to play the edge of the zone and rotate to where the next zone is pulling. This is called dead side and is usually identified by the direction of the zone. If it pulls north, dead side is north, west west, yada yada. Here's an example zone and where dead side would be. As you can see, the zone pulled kind of southwest, so southwest would be dead side, about where Canyons Crossing and that area, the surrounding area is. Here's the zone right after first zone for that same game. It would still be this area. As you can see, the zone is continuing to pull there. It's way easier to win games doing this, especially in pubs and ranked, as most players will position on the opposite side of this area or congested side and get eliminated for that reason. Now, if you want to win games, you're going to want to rotate to 6th and 7th zone early. This means going deep into the zone for earlier zones in the direction it pulls. Starting with 6th zone, some of the zone is covered by storm. Going to want to rotate towards this, as usually nobody else in the lobby will be in this location unless they're storm tanking for some reason. If done properly, you should be in a good spot for future zones, as majority of players, trust me, do not apply this tip. Have movement items ready to use at the end of the game, or items designed to get you ahead in zones. Everyone usually uses these items at this point of the zone, and not having them will make the rotate way harder than usual. Example of these items include shockwave grenades and slap juice or splashes. Those are items you use movement for and get ahead. Now, trust this is a process. You didn't win the first few fights or games. Remember to be patient. Fortnite is a game where, more than not, you're going to make mistakes. Just keep playing your game and trying to apply the fundamentals I've already went over, taking right hand peeks, learning piece control, and how to use different weapons, stuff like that, and you'll get there eventually. You'll get that win. If not, these tips could help you get to that point. These are more out of game based though, whether for optimizing your tablet or what to watch to improve at the game. Starting for the former, buy a cooler. A lot of devices still seem to heat fast on iOS and Android, which can significantly impact input delay and FPS in fights, and potentially even be the reason you lose a match. A lot of Fortnite Mobile pros use coolers to combat this, usually in two variants. One, laptop coolers, which you place your tablet on and they cool the device from the bottom, or two, phone coolers, which you stick on your device where the processor is located, aka where it usually gets hot. Restart your device often. I've noticed if I don't do this for a significant amount of time, my input delay is higher, which makes the game harder to play. When you do this, the device clears caches of all apps running in the background, stopping all those processes. This makes it to where your device is more focused on running Fortnite, as it should be one of the only things running in the background, which I've noticed has helped with my input delay. Now to tips for improving. Don't let me be the only educational content creator you watch. Watch PC educational content or general Fortnite educational content. This is easily the best sources of info you'll get for improvement, as Fortnite Mobile is a cross-platform game, PC, console, mobile. The best players come from this platform, PC, so when it comes to mechanics, aim, and game sense, they can probably explain things in a fashion more clear than I can imagine. If anybody really wants to sweat and get good at the game though, I personally recommend the Fighting Masterclass or Solos Masterclass by Destiny's Jesus and Resub. This is personally what I used to get good in the last few years. Link to these products will be in the description below. If this content isn't your thing and you're one of those players that watches the gameplay and picks things up, Watching PC pros fight can also help, or just play tournaments, play on game, all that. These players are the masters of applying techniques and are usually dominating ranked lobbies, tournaments, creative, whatever they play in. Good examples of players to watch include Peterbot, No Duh, Polo, Kanata, Queasy, Kami, and many, many more. Finally, try to play a consistent amount of the game each day, at least an hour. With Fortnite, consistency compounds, and some of the best players worldwide are the ones who grinded the most. I'm talking 6 or more hours a day of just repping habits, playing scrims, PGs against each other, all that. At least an hour of day towards practicing the right habits will skyrocket your improvement. Think of it like studying for a test a little bit every day versus trying to cram it all in sessions. Stay consistent with your practice. With that last one, those are 25 tips that I think will help you improve at the game. If this video helped, let me know in the comments below, as well as what you want to see in future educational videos, and I'll do what I can. Get out there and be a mobile master. Sensei Persup out. Peace.